Hi guys, so today we are doing a mostly drugstore inspired bridal makeup look. Most of what is on my face right now is drugstore makeup, but it is drugstore makeup that has duped the luxury makeup that you would find at Sephora. Now there are give or take a few items here that I just don't have drugstore products for, so I did have to dabble in some of my high-end makeup. But for the most part, it was a very simple, easy, laid-back look to do. We've got a little bit more of like a bronzy eye, a bronzier lip, peachier cheek. So definitely different than any bridal look that I've done on my makeup channel so far. But I hope that this is easy enough for you to recreate, or you just find some products here that you may be curious like I was to see, are they gonna perform or outperform some of the luxury brands that Sephora carries? For the most part, I feel like they're similar or very, like, there's distinct things that are showing that they're going to be different in quality and wear on the face. So for me, I've only got a couple items here and there, but most of my makeup vanity is Sephora, so that is where a lot of my videos will find if you're new to my channel as well. So I wouldn't say that I am a drugstore makeup artist for YouTube. I definitely dabble more in the luxury to high-end brands, and you can achieve a beautiful look just as well with drugstore too. So let's just jump right into it. So for my under eye concealer, I don't own anything from the drugstore in a concealer form. So I just had to use my Becca by Smashbox under eye corrector and my Huda Beauty concealer. First one I'm gonna try out is the Milani. This is the Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. This to me was the dupe of the Clinique 2-in-1 concealer foundation. So I haven't even opened this one yet. I've got it in the shade Creamy Nude. We're gonna hope that it matches the tan right now. Okay, let's give this a go. It's so hard with some drugstore ones too because it doesn't tell you if it's cool undertone, warm, neutral. Sometimes it will just say something like nude beige or creamy nude, and you're like looking at the bottle being like, is this gonna match? So that's one thing I do really like about my like high-end makeup, is that you'll usually have the C, the N, or the W to like let you know the undertone. So we're gonna try to blend this out and hope for the best. And I didn't apply any concealer to the lower half of my face because I want to see what this does as the 2-in-1 that it's claiming that it is. See if it can get rid of like the redness and everything without having to go like back over. Actually, I think I did a pretty good shade match there, which is good. I'd be a little bit worried as like a makeup artist if I couldn't figure it out at the drugstore, like what shade I would be by looking at the bottle. I'd be a little bit concerned on my color matching skills. But yeah, this actually looks like that's gonna be pretty natural once I get some bronzer. I'm actually, look at how glowy that is. That actually has a really nice finish. I'm quite impressed by this. And it doesn't feel heavy. Wow. Drugstore makeup has definitely come a long way from like when I was in high school and I was using drugstore makeup on some things. It was still pretty like hit and miss, but this is nice. Okay. Wow. I feel like out of all the drugstore dupes, everybody knows this e.l.f. one, the Halo Glow Liquid Filter, is a dupe of the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. I bought this in the shade 2 Fair Light because I have the shade 2 and 2.5 in the Charlotte Tilbury, so I thought that these would be fairly similar in color. And we're just gonna apply a little bit of a highlight. Gonna glow the complexion. I was gonna do this all over the face first underneath the Milani, but then I kind of didn't have a drugstore highlighter, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go with this and see what it does. For powder, again, I don't own any drugstore powders. I have my favorites and I just stick with them. Every powder that I've really tried from the drugstore in the past, it's been a while, but they've always just not perform the way I wanted them to. So I always figured I'd just go back to my high-end ones, and I know that they get the job done and I don't play around with them. So this one is the Huda Beauty in Pound Cake. Bronzer, I almost picked up, there was a Milani one at the drugstore, but I put it back. I have this Hula one that I've been trying to get through, so I'm just gonna keep it with this. If you did want a non-expensive version, they do have the mini version of these Hula bronzers that are about, I think, $23, $24, which I feel like is basic range now for a drugstore full size of a bronzer. And because I'm going for a very soft glam wedding look, I'm not going to pull in too many like contour sticks or anything. I'm just going to keep it very bronzy, but also very simple to achieve. So I'm just taking that bronzer and slightly placing it on the neck and the under chin. For blush, I found these really pretty ones from Revolution at the drugstore. This is called the Bouncy Blur Blush, and this is a dupe for the MAC Play blushes. They've got that same like cream to powder finish. They're kind of like squishy a little bit. So I thought this would be a really pretty like peachy bridal shade on the warmer tones for the warmer tone bride. I am going to apply it with my NARS brush though, just instead of fingertips, so I can get a more precise application and really blend this out. It's very soft, very reminiscent of the MAC Play blushes. I'd be curious to see what other colors that they have at the drugstore in this shade. Maybe getting like a pink would be pretty, getting a little bit more of a berry color for fall winter. Yeah, very easy to apply, gives a nice sheen to the skin. They're not matte blushes by any means, and it just looks really healthy. I'm going to tap some on the bridge of the nose here just to kind of have it sun swept right across. And with my powder poof, I'm just going to come right up underneath it just to define that a little bit more. For my eyebrows, I don't have a drugstore brow pencil, so I'm going to use my Goof Proof Benefit, but then I am going to use the Sephora Collection Clear Brow Gel. At Sephora, their collection, their own house brand, is the closest that you could get to drugstore pricing, but definitely better quality. So I will be applying that through to show you how that holds the brows. Alright, so brows are done, got the brow gel on them, also just put on some eye primer, and now we're going to jump into the eye look. So this is Revolution. When I saw this, it's called the Master Icon. This is an exact dupe of the Patrick Ta eyeshadow palettes. Patrick Ta's right now I think are at like $96 or $98. This one was $20 at the drugstore, $20 Canadian. So you're gonna get a black and a brown liner cream, and then you're getting your warm and your cool tones divided. So for me, this was really a simple buy. I knew that having these type of warm and cool shades in a matte formula, they're also super buttery, creamy, easy to blend. I just didn't want to splurge on the Patrick Ta one at the moment. Like, I like spending my makeup on really outstanding eye products that have like reflectism, chrome, glitter. Like, the palette has to be all different colors that are unique for me to really want to go for a $100 palette. So when it was all mattes, I was like, let me see if I can find a dupe for this, and I definitely did. So I will continue to use this and finish it through. Not saying I won't ever buy the Patrick Ta eyeshadows, and I'm sure, like, I know the blendability is a lot more buttery, like they're long lasting, super pigmented. I just couldn't bring myself to do $100 for all matte shades in very like neutral colors. So we're gonna play with this one today to show you how to do like a bridal eye look. First one that I'm gonna go in with is this like buttery popcorn yellow beigey color. I'm gonna put this all across the lid. This is really gonna brighten, open up the eyelid, and then it's also gonna create a nice base for some darker colors here to blend over top of. In this palette, there is like a middle warmer tone shade. I'm gonna be taking this all throughout the crease. So again, for this look, we're gonna go quite simple, not too many products. But I really want to carve out the crease, get the shape of the eye. And then I'm going to take that onto the outer third of the eye and blend it into the center. On the outer part of the eye, I'm going to focus this deeper toned brown, and we're just going to deepen it up just slightly and a little bit at the lash line as well. And going in with that buttery yellow, we're just gonna brush up a little bit of that inner corner. And to soften any lines, I have this really big Morphe brush. This is kind of like a diffusing crease brush. I'm just gonna go back and forth in the crease just to soften that up a little bit. Carve out a little bit of the under eye. I'm going to go back in with that cool tone brown that we just did on the outer portion of the eye, and we're going to just trace it along the lash line. In the kit, you do have these cream liners as well. Now the Patrick Ta one is actually like a plastic casing that you like pull back and you can clip it back on. This is actually just like plastic film fiber, so the minute I pull this off, it'll be gone, or I can stick it back on as long as I keep it sanitary. But it's just like a little plastic film, so that is definitely like difference in packaging and like little things that they wanted to add in. But because I'm gonna do a little bit of false lashes, I'm gonna go in with this black, and we're just gonna create a very thin line at the lash line. This look, I'm actually not going to do a wing liner. I just want to create kind of a rounded eye, and we're going to keep it right at the lash line. Now for a little bit of a center eye glitter, I do have two from the drugstore. I have the Essence one, which is the Jelly Jewels Glitter Eye Toppers. And then I also have the e.l.f. one. Now I think for today I'm going to stick with the e.l.f. because it's a little bit more silver bronze, like warmer toned. This one's like a pure white, so this might be pretty for a different look. But because we're doing warm tones, I'm going to stick with the warm tone on the eyes. So these are a dupe for the Stila eye glitters. And I'm just going to tap a little bit on just like the center eye. Should be good. I don't want to go too high up in the crease because it's wet. It has to dry and it might end up transferring into the crease. While that eye glitter is drying, I'm just going to go and do my mascara. Again, I don't have a drugstore mascara right now. I'm just using the Gucci one. That's what I have open. So I'm going to put that on, and then we're going to go into some Kiss false lashes. So when at the drugstore, I take a good look at the false lashes a lot of the time, and sometimes I just find that they're too long, they're too much. So for drugstore, I usually go for Ardell or Kiss, and I just do these like half lash clusters. And I just find that they're easier to apply. They're not as intimidating as some of the long lashes that they carry, and I also find sometimes the band with drugstore lashes are not the greatest. So I find that this is the easier way. So I'm just going to pop a couple on the outer portion of the eye. I'm not going right across to create a heavy lash, just a little bit to create a little bit of a wispy butterfly effect at the base of the lash. For the lips, I created this really beautiful combo with all drugstore. So we're going to be using the L'Oreal Color Riche and Au Naturel to line the lips. For the lipstick base, I'm going to use the Maybelline Superstay Vinyl Ink in 35 Cheeky. I've had quite a few colors of these and I absolutely love them. They stay on for a really long time, really natural and pretty color range. So I think this would be a great option for like an affordable lip on the wedding day. What I like about these is they stay really comfortable on the lip as well. They're never feeling really dry or anything once they start to actually dry down. And they kind of move with your lip throughout the day. Nothing gets like crusty or flaky or peely. So I really like these. Definitely would recommend for affordable bridal to check these ones out. And last but not least, I'm going to add a little bit of a gloss. So I have the Pixie one here in Icing on the Cake. Now I think for wedding and bridal, having a little bit of a glow or shimmer on the chest is really pretty, especially depending on the neckline of the dress. So I'm going to use the Lumique lotion from L'Oreal, and we're just going to apply it a little bit across the décolletage. That might have been way too much, but we'll see. I have this little body brush. Oh no, that's fine. Okay, perfect. Just to get a little bit of a glow back to the chest. Now, the final step of this makeup is just to set it in place. I don't have a setting spray from the drugstore, but I have heard L'Oreal, NYX, and possibly Milani have really good ones. I just haven't had a chance to purchase them. I haven't needed to. So I do have this Charlotte Tilbury one that I trust that I will spray through. Alright, so that was the final step of this mostly drugstore bridal makeup look. Definitely more on the warmer tones than anything that I've done for bridal on my videos before. And I kind of think with this warm tones and how glowy it is, very simple, easy steps, could be more of like a very like toned down beach wedding, something like that for the summer would be really pretty. But I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.